As I've established earlier, this is a highly low quality production, and as such, I maybe should take a little more care in making sure that I don't have both sets of my headsets plugged into my computer, and that if I do, that I'm recording on the right one. So I've lost all of my audio. Not all of it, but the video game sounds are way louder than what I was speaking, so now I'm doing a voiceover. Anyways, today I am showing you the block inputs for hinges, and I've made a little contraption that will show you, that shows exactly what block input, or what logic input rather, to put in for various angles of the hinge. So without any further ado, let's play some Trailmakers. Oh, crap. So I'm sure during this part, I gave some wise words of wisdom to all of you. I can't necessarily remember what they are, but anyway, here is the contraption I made. Basically what I've got is two angle sensors that are on top of hinges. Right now, both the hinges are set to 60 because I've got the small hinge and the large hinge, and the large hinge only bends to 60. The angle sensors goes into various end gates with various settings so that I can move it up or move it left and right so I can dial it into exactly where it is. And the lights on top will show when it has reached the angle that I've set it at. And now I'll set these angle sensors at different angles to show the input. So I believe that there was some issues there that I had to resolve. Oh yes, I remember what it was. I had one of my inputs for counting up, I had put as an input to lock it, which was really dumb. And actually looking back on it, I didn't even need to lock it. I had originally made a great big one that had all the angles in it, but things were getting crosswired. And even though when I check on them, it wouldn't show that they were crosswired, it still, I wasn't confident in the results that I was getting. So I decided to just make it simpler. All right, so here I am dialing it down. See, the lights are on both of them. This first test was for just 1 degree. And now I'm going to set it for 2 degrees. As you can see, a 2 degrees change when it's set at 90, which is the default, is half of that plus 2. So you go, you see it is, on those numbers there too, those aren't actually hundreds, they're, it's 0.389 is the setting for that. Don't know what's taking me so long. I know that I'm marking this down in a spreadsheet. And I'm going to make a chart afterwards. I'm going to put it at the beginning and at the end of this video, so that's a quick reference. I imagine most of the time you'll only want to set it at 45 degrees, but it may be worthwhile to, have a long list. I set it at probably the most common angles that you'd want to set your hinges at. So I've done 1 and 2. Now I'm going to be setting it at 5. So that's 50. If you're ever wondering why I use these colors, it's not because they're the default Trailmakers colors, which I didn't even remember until long after I started using them. I'm from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and if you know anything about Canadians, we're hockey fans, and my team are the Edmonton Oilers. long story as to why not the Calgary Flames. But anyway, it's the Edmonton Oilers, and their colors are blue and orange. So I thought I would give a little nod to them in my Trailmakers color scheme. All right, so now we are set at 10 degrees. See, I tried to set it at 15. So the increments I have set up are, I can go up by 100, by 0.1, by 0.05, by 0.01, by 0.05, and all the way down. And actually, it's interesting. It doesn't show up. And this is the reason why I multiplied it by 1,000 was because at 0.001, it does record that number, but it won't show it on the screen. And it'll only do it in the positives, not in the negatives. So you can't go minus 0.001, only positive 0.001. So that was something else that I found out when I was doing this little test. So I had to, when I was making it so you could adjust it the smallest amount, I actually had to put it in a multiplier and multiply the positive by -1 in order for it to work. All right, next up is 65, so that's 20 degrees. I went up by 5 degrees for a while, but not the whole time. Of course, if I wasn't recording while I was watching along with this, I might be able to speed up this part, but because I'm a doorknob, I can't believe I did that. I could just barely hear my voice through the sound of the game. So unfortunately, you also don't get to hear the spooky game noises that are going on right now because it's Halloween season with Trailmakers. And you can see my different, when I go, I'll have to show it after. Why can't I control past self? So that's 70, so that's 25 degrees. So yeah, these letters up top here, those are my adjustments. So the W and S, I don't know what they're for. I think it's because I have seat control on. But the T and Y are the smallest, or the T and G are the lowest. And then as you go across the keyboard, it's bigger increments. I had started at Q and A, but I kept pressing F, which isn't a big deal to hop out of the seat, and R, which was a big deal. So I had to bind them differently. All right, 30 degrees now. And then after this, we're going to go up by 15s because it's more commonly set. Although with my graph, you may be able to infer what different angles are if you needed a 37-degree angle on your hinge. And we're starting here, like I said, we're only going up to 60. So this is more for the large hinge than the small hinge. Because the small hinge, of course, can go up to 90 if I don't have it set at its max. I'll be doing that after. That part I may fast forward. You're welcome. So if you want to know a little bit about me, my username, when I joined Discord, I don't know why I chose Sir. It was just, I don't know, because I could choose a super simple username. I just went with it. I had no intention of actually being on Discord. I only went on there because you got a little kudos if you finished the long drive, which was actually the first video game on Steam that I ever played, and I finished it, and it's an awesome game. You should try it. It's glitchy and buggy and weird and fun. Anyway, so I went with the name Sir, and then later on when they made it so your name had to be more unique, I needed some numbers after it, so I chose my birth year, 1976, and yes, I am an old fart. Elvis and I were alive at the same time. Wild. Oh, I remember why I was doing this. So when it went down at the end there, it was glitching into the other blocks. So that's why I had to move it all forward. And I had to do that because sometimes if you lose contact with your game, all of the inputs get messed up. Sometimes they don't, but sometimes they do. And yeah, I'm just might as well delete the large hinge because now we're going to do the 90-degree test. So I think here I am going to fast forward and start a new recording. All right, now it's time for the time lapse of the small hinge to 90. It's actually kind of a bit of a fun experience, and I was surprised actually that at the way the graph turned out in the end. It was kind of interesting to see how the line was. I knew that it was, got less progressively sharp as it went up, but I didn't realize by how much. All right, and here's the final one up to the full to just make sure that everything worked properly. And of course these, I don't know if you've noticed on my videos, I always end up blowing myself up at the end. In the first two videos, it was actually completely by accident, but then since then, I've just been kind of having fun with it. As a kid, I loved Super Dave Osborne. You should look him up. He was hilarious, and he always did stuff like that. So once again, we're counting up: 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. Oh, I blowed myself up. So here's the findings in the end. So as you can see on here, that obviously the more input you put in the beginning, the less the hinge bends, but as time goes on, it bends more and more with each input. For instance, if you look at the 90 degrees, to get it from 1 degree to 2 degrees, it's about 0.07 input change. But to get it from 75 to 90, which is a significant amount more of a change, it is 0.044 of an input. So that's a significant difference. So if you want to make small adjustments as you're nearing that maximum bend in your hinge, you really have to set your accumulator down to a very small number. So that is my findings from this. I will hopefully be able to put this chart up somewhere, maybe on my YouTube channel. I'll have to look. If I can figure out how to do that, I'll put that in the description. If not, then I guess you'll just have to come back to the video. Hey, yay, more views for me. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you learned something today. And until I see you again, have a lovely day. Talk to you later. Bye. Almost 1.